for sure. So we are sitting here at the Federal Way Performing Arts and Event Center, and I have to say, I feel like I'm sitting on the set of Central Perk in Friends.
Wait, like I walked in, I just got off a flight, by the way. So Katie and we have this incredible helper named Ryan have set everything up. And I was like, you did all of this by yourself. So
Thanks.
where did you get all this furniture?
Well, first of all, I have to give a massive shout out to the team at the Performing Arts Center. They were here last night till like 9 p.m., like setting everything up. And then a huge shout out to Fusion. So they basically provide housing and support services to families experiencing homelessness in the community. And basically the Performing Arts Center team reached out and they said, hey, would you be willing to help us? And so I showed up last night and the carpet is here. This table that you guys don't see is here. These trees are here. This couch is here, like everything, which we'll use for the live show on the 25th. But just feeling like I was filled with gratitude last night, just that they were willing to help.
Yeah. And this is like, it's such a cool idea too. This was all your idea. I know I'm going to make you very uncomfortable.
You
That's
are.
fine.
I'm
sorry.
already blushing.
Somebody has to do it. But Katie had this idea of bringing a live show to NCAAs and making it almost like a college game day where we're previewing what's going to happen. Like nobody has ever done this before, especially live. And so I think this is the first time of hopefully what's many years to come. And it's really cool. And like we have sponsors.
Yes.
Like
we have sponsors.
It's real.
It's real.
Hey. Speedo. Which is fitting because we were both Speedo athletes when we were swimming. So we were very excited about this one. But they have some new goggles out.
So yes. So basically the goal of this show is each day at 1:30 Pacific, we will go through kind of like a recap of the prelims a little bit, but mainly just like a preview what's going to happen, what our predictions are. I was not an NCAA athlete, so I'm going to be leading on this champ over here, but just giving you guys some insights and like the college game day prediction. So we'll go through in a moment, really just 2 relays tonight, which I'm very excited, but want to shout out Speedo first. They've got a ton of new products coming out. And so today we want to talk about their brand new, and we're about to do something that every swimmer is going to just breathe
the best
very
feeling in the world,
satisfying feeling. But they have their new Vanquisher 3.0s out. And I have to say, I am a Vanquisher poster child.
If you ever watched Katie Hoff swim, she was never not in the Vanquishers. Ever.
Yeah, ever.
Ever.
And I was always just like jamming them into my face.
But
that would have been great if I was swimming with these because these have much better cushion. So in terms of like rings around your eyes and like intense red marks, it's much, much better about that. So, when you're on the podium or you're in a press conference, you don't look like a raccoon.
You're looking cute.
So you want to do the honors with me?
I will.
Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, we should have done that like at the mic.
I know.
Or like that, the feel.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, so people could hear it like a little ASMR?
I wonder, like, I wonder what I've never listened to it.
Well, it's over.
Next time.
It's over. But the other piece that I want to talk about as well is the slip nose bridge. So if you have worn these goggles, you know how hard it is to like bring the nose strip in and out. And I know I have kind of I don't know if I have a wide nose, but I always had to use the large. And so these are much easier to just slip in and out. So it's customized to your face.
And you know what I'm also noticing here on these straps? They seem a lot thicker in terms of width.
Yeah. So
but thinner in terms of like this is pretty skinny. And I love that because I feel like some straps can be a little bulky, but I was a foamy Vanquisher girl.
Okay, like OG.
And then I know you were the rubber, and then I graduated to, I would wear either Swedes or Speed sockets.
Yeah.
Those are my jam. But these are like your like daily drivers, your forever old faithful, like they will never let you down.
Also just super cute.
And so cute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about looking cute.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about tonight.
We got 2 relays. I'm very excited for you to experience your first NCAAs. It's unlike any meet that you certainly have ever been to.
Yeah.
It's super intense. A lot of points are on the line. You don't have the men and women together. So there's a different energy on the deck with it just being women. But I think one thing that we can all agree on being swimmers is that day one meet nervous energy. And so everybody will be feeling that. And we're going to kick it off with the tune medley relay, which Virginia is looking like the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who comes in. I don't want to say Virginia is going to win it. Like, yeah, maybe I do.
I mean, that's actually a question I had because I was looking at the psych sheets. They're ranked 2.5 seconds ahead of Texas. Is the rankings in the psych sheet from ACCs and from all the championships before this?
Yeah.
Or okay, so
that's a good question. It's whatever the top times were throughout the whole season. So if
Okay.
somebody went faster at invite, that'll be their seed time.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting. So Virginia almost has like too many spades to play where they just have such a stacked roster.
Yeah.
It's almost like more complicated to make your relays because you have so many to pick from. And it's like, where do you put Gretchen? Where do you put Alex? Where do you put everybody else? Like Emma Weber on breaststroke, Claire Curzan. Like, there's just so many
Yeah.
big names. So I think Todd probably had it a little harder in a good way.
Yeah. What a
In a
every
good
other
way.
coach is like, what a problem.
Like,
You
I
can
don't,
be
I don't,
fast.
yeah, like we can't like feel bad for the guy. Like he's crushing it. But I think in terms of like being strategic and using swimmers where he needs to use
Yeah.
them and where he'll need them most, he had to probably sit down and like really comb through the roster. And then, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Texas did. They had Emma Sticklin on the backstroke at SECs, but Abby Aarons can do it. There's just so many combinations in this tune medley relay. And I do think Virginia will come out on top. But I mean, you've brushed up on your NCAA knowledge.
I mean, I'm here.
What was your stat about the top 8
Oh,
teams?
yeah. I mean, I just feel like for non-swimmers or even swimmers who aren't in the NCAA world, like the fact that I believe it was Stanford is ranked 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, Stanford is ranked 3rd, and then the 8th team, which is University of Alabama, is only 3/10 behind them. Like everyone is within hundreds of a second, which I mean, in a 200, like that's normal in a 50. I've seen that individually, but in a 200, there's zero room for error. You could get bronze and be 3rd, or you could get 8th.
Right. Or false start because
Or
you're
false
trying to make
start.
up all those. So, like, the name of the game here tonight, especially because it's just 2 relays, is safe starts.
Yeah.
If you have a 0.3 reaction, who cares? It's a safe start. Better that than -1, and then you're deked. And relays are double points. So, yes, let's look at the broad picture. Virginia is the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
But it's not over after Virginia might win. You know, there's a race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and
Yeah.
every team wants to be a top 10 team in the NCAA, and especially with all of this NIL stuff going on. This is a conversation for another day, but you know, how do you prove to your athletic department that you're worthy of staying
Yeah.
in the budget? And you do that by performance. And so not only are these athletes going to be feeling a lot of the pressure just because they want to perform for themselves, but they also want to perform for their team and for their coach.
Yep.
And then their coach is stressed because they want their kids to perform well. So you're going to notice it's a lot of anxious energy.
Like more than like compare the anxious energy, you know, at the Olympic Games or World Championships to NCAAs. Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. Like I remember my first NCAAs as a freshman, and I threw up before my 500 free prelim.
Is it just because, and I hear people talk about this, like Team USA is one thing, but when you're with your team day in, day out, like blood, sweat, tears, I just feel like that weight, I mean, it's a good thing, but it weighs heavy on you because you want to do your team proud.
I think you're right. And like, I think, you know, there's no points at world championships.
Right.
Or trials or whatever. And so here it's like you are individually responsible for scoring as many points as possible. And so kind of everybody's baseline when they come into NCAAs is like, what is my seed? Am I coming in 10th? Can I get top 8?
Yep.
Can I always improve upon my seed? It's never good to fall down on your seed. And because that's points. And at the end of the day, this day and age, that could be somebody's job, like without sounding too dramatic. And so, and this meet is also emotional too, because I would say most of the swimmers that are seniors here or 5th years, most of them will not continue to swim.
Yeah.
So
this is their last go.
This is it. And, it's a culmination of so much work, and we've both had our own last races, and it's almost like, I don't know, what was your last race?
Well, that's the
Well,
thing.
yours was weird because
I mean, I feel
yeah.
like though it's almost to me that's almost a gift. It's like because I don't know about you, but you did know when your last race was. I didn't
Yeah.
really know it was going to be my
Yeah.
last race, but I feel like for these athletes, that's really like as you're, if you're watching, hopefully everyone you're watching on TV, but like that's such a special thing to sit there and be like, okay, like this is like on the last day on Saturday, they're going to be like, this is the last time I'm in a pool racing. Like
Right.
I actually can't even imagine the emotion going
It's
into
a
a
lot.
race like that.
Actually just got chills. Like,
Yeah.
last time you're driving to the pool on the bus, last time you're warming up, last time you're doing pace. Like, I literally have full body chills. It's
Yeah.
such like a monumental moment. So again, that just adds another layer to how much this week really means.
Yeah.
And for the rookies, for the freshmen, they've experienced their conference meets, which are conference meets are fun. Like, it's for the most part combined, at least me coming from the SEC, it was always a men and women meet. The energy's high, there's not like much to lose. You're just there to swim fast. If you don't have like your B cut or your A cut, you're trying to get it or get an invite. But when you come here, this is like the final stop.
Yeah.
And
Like game
it's
7
yeah.
basketball reference.
Look at that. And
know.
we're in March
I
Madness. I'm
know.
so impressed. So yeah, Turner medley relay. I think we're gonna be cooking. Um, I feel like for Virginia, we'll see Cruzan lead off.
Okay. I was just going to ask who you thought.
I don't think we'll see Gretchen on the 8 free relay. She said after ACCs that was her only 2 free.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like that race you could just see it on her face after she did that, 139. You could tell she was just
139.
like, I'm out.
Yeah, like
That was awful. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was insane, but just like you could see. Yeah, so I feel like will be Emma for breaststroke, Weber.
Yeah, it could be. The Alex could do breaststroke,
I know.
like Todd's got a lot of
Yeah.
people to choose from, which is great.
What about Texas?
Texas will be
Do you
good.
think they're like a shoe-in for because they've got some distance between 3rd and 4th and 5th. Like, do you think they're like they've got it solidified?
I think Texas can be second. And what I like about Texas is different from Virginia. Their 2 relays are kind of set. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's going to be doubling a 50 on the medley and a 2 free tonight on the 8 free. So it's almost like, not that a 50 is going to ruin anybody's 200 free, but it's one less race to swim. And you have to remember, like, this meet is every morning, every night,
Yeah.
plus relays. Like, it is so much racing. And I mean, remember we were talking to Nathan, and I
Yeah.
forgot this, but back in like our day, we did prelims for relays.
That's right. Yeah, so, I mean,
Yeah.
because name off so it's Turner medley, Turner free, 400 medley, 400 free, 4x200 so 5 relays.
Yeah.
So, except for tonight, that's 8 extra swims, right?
yeah.
If you're on every single relay,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah. And again, double points for relays. So, if you're somebody like Texas or Florida or Tennessee, like
Yeah.
somebody that's going to be in the race for a trophy, every single one of these relays counts. I mean, I was at Ivy's for men's a couple weeks ago, and that was just conference. On day 4 of the meet, which is like the Saturday of this meet, 3 teams were tied, dead even. Tied.
Oh.
Going into finals day 4. Like, that is how tight these meets can be.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we'll see that here this weekend. I do think Virginia will likely have a lead, but all of these teams that are coming behind them, they still care, kind of like what we were saying earlier.
For sure.
So, yeah, Tuner medley relay will be speedy, and then 8 free relay, which I always loved, because that was like the one relay that
You're
I
like,
felt,
give the distance kids a chance.
yeah, I'm like, where's the 800 medley relay? And I would shine. But I mean, you've been on 8 free relays at the Olympics. Like,
Yeah.
is this your favorite that you've been on?
I mean, it's the only one. Actually, you know what? I was on the 4x100 freestyle relay short course worlds in Dubai in 2010. So I have
There
one.
she is.
There's the sprinter.
There she is.
But I mean, I feel like it's my favorite, but unfairly because it's the only thing I've done. But I do think it's such an interesting dynamic. Like, unlike any other relay, if you're anchoring, you're just standing on deck for 5.5, 6 minutes. Like, it's
Yeah.
such a weird feeling to just sit there and watch the race play out. And you're like, I could, I'm not that fast of a runner, but like someone could run a mile in this period of time that I'm just
Oh my God,
standing on
yeah.
deck.
For sure.
So it's an interesting thing, and I feel like it's also for the athletes, it's a mental game of like you could be watching your team either way ahead, which always pumped me up, or
Yeah.
you could be you're like, we're in fourth, we're in sixth, so it's an interesting dynamic if you're watching on TV. Like, I always love watching the faces of the third and fourth people because they're either like pumped or they're like ghost white.
What were you like? Because I know you've anchored for sure.
Yeah, I think I've been in multiple different scenarios. Like in 2007, we were in lane 8 and we were winning by a landslide. So it was
Yeah.
the most fun ever. I was just like, clean water, like,
Easy.
woo!
We're
But
gonna win.
at the Olympics, we were like fourth and fifth, and so I was fighting to get us on the podium. So it's just, I think the biggest thing is keeping your composure, swimming your own race. Like, I even think in the hundreds, like, you can't, the first 25, there has to be some level of, maybe it's not like, maybe it's more emotional energy than anything, but you
Yeah.
can't let the race play out next to you and have it affect you. And that's, to me, the hardest thing that's different than in individual race.
That's such a good point. Today on my flight here, there was actually some Georgia parents on the flight, and we were talking about race strategy in the 8 free relay and
Yeah.
how, especially night one, like we're talking about that nervous energy, like you're so excited to finally be fully tapered and
Yes.
rested. And especially on a relay, you sometimes let that get ahead of you a little bit. And so at SEC's, the Georgia leadoff was going first next to Bella Sims, who's a 140 point
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
freestyler. And the Georgia swimmer is more of like a 50-hundreder, and she like pushed Bella, like was out first in front of Bella and hurt that second 100 coming home. And it's exactly your point, like swim your own race, don't swim somebody else's race.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the name of the game for this. I have no idea what the lineups are going to look like if we're not going to have a Gretchen Walsh lead off to try to go after
Missy's record.
Missy's record.
Yeah.
That was done in 2015. 10 years old.
It's the oldest. It's the oldest on the books.
Okay, let's just take a moment to pause.
Missy Franklin,
Yeah.
badass.
I am not worthy of sitting in your seat. Not even close. But that is insane.
Insane. Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, to think, I don't even know what the splits on that are, but it's like, it's fat. I mean, I think they're flipping at 47, which is like, I never went for 100 freestyle. So.
Oh, definitely not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible what Missy has done, and the fact that we're here 10 years later.
Yeah.
It's like your American record in the 400 IM. 2008.
Ancient. I never know how to respond when you do this.
I know, I'm so sorry. I like to pump Katie up because you got to have a friend to do that, and I'm that for Katie. She's that for me too. But anyways, back to the point, the 800 free relay, especially for some of these girls with it being their first race, that isn't a 50. Like a 50, you just go.
Yeah.
But a 200, there's a lot of strategy in it, as you know, and it's like control the first 100, like smart 100,
Yeah.
easy speed, and then you can kind of hammer on it that second 100. But again, I do think Virginia here is the favorite. I think Florida's going to push. I think Texas is going to push. I think there's a lot of teams that are Indiana. We've got Anna Poplawski.
I know.
Yeah, Katie Grimes is going to be on maybe the UVA. Like, we haven't even like really talked about Katie Grimes being in the NCAA because she just joined,
which she's
a month or two ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think she'll be an NCAA champion at the end of.
Oh, what event?
400 IM.
Okay. All right.
We're not there yet. So
yeah, that's day 1. No, day 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But no, I want to ask you something, because this is something I don't think people realize. Like, people are not aware of what the relay orders are until they walk out, correct?
So Normally it's a game time decision.
Okay.
So day of, this is how Florida did it. So I can't really speak for any team. But when I was swimming at Florida, there are some guaranteed. Like a Bella Sims is guaranteed to be on that relay.
Yeah.
But maybe 2, 3, 4 aren't guaranteed. So, and then if there's a fifth swimmer in the mix that maybe is pacing well and has historically tapered well, they might bump somebody off even though they're the fifth fastest performer of the season.
Yeah.
So we would always find out day of. We'd have a team meeting before we went to the pool for finals on Wednesday night, which is where we are today. And Coach Troy would read off the relays, and that's when we would find out.
Wow.
Yep.
And then in terms of strategy with other teams, like other coaches, other teams, the public, no one knows who's on the relay until they walk out.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. And we, as you know, I'm going to be doing the post-race interviews, so it doesn't matter. But if you're Rowdy and Ted Robinson in the booth, you don't get the relay names on the sheets until like 2 minutes before the event starts.
So you better just know everybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
And luckily at this point of the season, if you're paying attention to the NCAA, and like we're lucky to go to all the conference meets and kind of
you have a general sense.
Know people and what they look like, you would maybe be fine without the relay sheets, but it's like you're in the ready room and you're like, all right, there's Tennessee's relay.
That's crazy.
There's Georgia's relay. So
have you ever been like, oh, I'm shocked?
Sometimes.
Okay.
And normally when that happens, it's maybe the one person that I thought it was going to be is off that meet. Or maybe they're going to use them in a different relay. I mean, there's always been last minute changes. Like one time I was on the 400 free relay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Flex.
No, I was anchoring. Okay. Well, here's what and this isn't about me, but it is a quick story. I was anchoring because the idea was like, we were going to get super far ahead. And I was just going to hold the line.
Yeah.
Hold the line, split a 48 and hold the line.
Okay.
With a relay start. But who am I going next to? And this is like deep swim nerd. Is Megan Romano.
Wow.
In peak Megan Romano, splitting a 45. And
no.
I swear I dove in, and Florida was next to Georgia, and Megan dove in, and it was over after 15 meters. She had already overtaken me.
Oh, that's rough.
It is, but like that'll happen at this meet, and
yes.
and you cannot, if you're me in that scenario, all right, accept it. They are a much better 100 freestyler than you. That's okay. Yeah. But you still have a job to do, and it's not to give up. It's still to get as many points for your team. And I think that's also what makes this meet so beautiful is it's for something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of this meet on Saturday night, sure, we've crowned a bunch of individual NCAA champions, and that's so cool. But the celebration at the end where you get crowned national champion and you're jumping into the pool with all of your teammates, and like I'm giving myself chills describing it, and
you're so cool.
Your coaches jump in. You know, there's nothing like that on the international stage. You know, it's like even if we win the most gold medals at the Olympics.
Why not, by the way?
Yeah, that's actually a great point.
Like that should be a thing.
There's no ceremony or celebration. So there is just like a deeper rooted sense of camaraderie at NCAAs. And I'm excited for you to see it. Like,
yeah, I'm really excited to see it because I feel like I know a lot of the people, but I have heard for a decade people talk about like there's something like the energy at NCAAs is just different. And I was always like, dang, like that, and I just never had an opportunity to go or it just didn't make sense. And so yeah, I'm interested to see just how the teams operate and the energy. People say like you walk on deck and you're like, oh, I feel it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I have a question around like there's obviously you talked about Georgia. There's like tons of rivalries happening on deck. Does that stay in place once you get to NCAAs, or is it different because you're not like a conference meet?
I think it's like any meet though.
Okay.
Like swimmers are so
nice.
I know. So nice.
I know. There's no drama.
No drama. And you are definitely aware, Florida's sitting next to Georgia and Georgia has 15 points on us,
Yeah.
we're aware.
Yeah.
But I don't think it changes any way that we like interact with them.
Yeah.
Like, God, the Georgia girls were my favorite people to swim the 400 IM final with. Like, there's actually a photo of us from NCAA's. It's like me, Amber McDermott, Emily Cameron, like Brittany McLean, maybe. I don't know. It's like me and 5 Georgia girls,
And
like
you're like,
huddling before the race. Like, what are we doing? But like that's just swimming.
It is.
Blanket, whether it's NCAA or USA Swimming. Speaking of teams, since you are neutral, who are you cheering for?
Oh God.
Like who's your home team?
I feel like if I think about, I'm gonna sway towards, everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're gonna go for the winner. But I just feel like because we had Todd on the podcast, we had Gretchen on the podcast, we had Alex on the podcast, like it's just Katie Grimes on the podcast.
Right.
So I feel like I'm gonna be partial because of that. I mean, I gotta beat Gators next.
Of course,
because of you. But then, we had Tori Husk on the podcast for Stanford. So I actually have a really embarrassing
Yeah, wait, we
story.
haven't even talked about Stanford.
We haven't talked about Stanford.
Yeah, Tori Husk being back.
So I was, when I was like going through everybody that I was like, who's going to be here, whatever. And I was in this panic. This is so embarrassing. I literally talked to Tori about this season on the podcast. I messaged her and I was like, are you going to be at NCAA's?
Oh, no.
And bless her heart, she goes, hopefully.
Says the Olympic champion.
And then I go, I'm like, I'm so stupid. And I literally messaged her. I'm like, you are the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
You're like, hope you hope you get your cut?
Right.
Like, I was like,
I get invited to the meet.
I apologize. I was like, I'm so she's like, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah.
I love that you brought up Stanford though. Because like, let's also talk about all of the conference shifting that's happened.
Yes.
Like,
that's gotta be wild.
SEC now has 12 teams, and that includes just like Texas. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. Like Big 10, no more Pac-12. ACC has Stanford now. So it'll be interesting to see how teams from the Pac-12 that were probably affected most by all of this respond to NCAA's. I almost might think they're better off in a way where they had no reason to really care about their conference meet.
Right. Least, because they just won, like Stanford would just win easily, you mean?
I just think like if they had a streak, maybe that's the wrong wording for me to say. Of course they care, but I just think everything is so new and foreign.
Yeah.
It can get a little distracting. And I feel like maybe in this year, it was like, hey, we're in a new conference. It is what it is. Some of us are going to go to ACC. Some of us aren't. NCAA is our focus.
Yeah.
And if I know Greg Meehan like I know him, that team is going to be ready.
Yeah.
They're going to show up. And it's a team that maybe is not talked about a lot this season. And I don't know why that is, but I feel like I haven't heard like a lot about Stanford or Cal even for that matter. But I'm excited to see how they perform.
Like, who do you think, if there's like a dark horse that you had to pick? I mean, again, like we have to say UVA. Like UVA is just like a landslide. Like they just have too many studs and legends and people. But like second place, you have to pick it. Who do you predict?
If they swim like they swam at SECs, I think Texas.
Yeah. I feel like their momentum is so strong right now.
Yeah.
Like there's at least 7 or 8 girls where I'm like, oh, yep, you're on fire. You're on fire. You're on fire.
And they just need to carry that momentum. I think Indiana is going to be there, Florida, Tennessee, Stanford, Cal. It's almost like the normal teams, that we're like talking about. Georgia's going to have some great swims. Steph has coached them amazing this season. So it'll be really fun because sure, maybe we have Virginia at the top, but I think everything else is going to be tight.
I think it's going to be like a battleground.
And that's exciting.
Third. Yeah. I mean, which like, yeah, you don't want it to be like, oh, it's definitely UVA. Like, I just feel like it makes it fun to watch for the public as well as for the athletes and the teams. So
yeah, I agree. It was like the Super Bowl this year was fine.
Yeah.
but it was a landslide.
Yeah.
You know,
It was super boring.
I want it to be like like you said, a dogfight, like a battleground, and that makes it
Bloodshed.
tears. Like, and it makes it more fun because I think when you know that you're in that tight race, it gives you an extra like oomph.
Oh, yeah. Like
Of
adrenaline
course.
hit. Yeah.
So then I think we see faster swimming, maybe more intensity on the pool deck, especially towards the last day. And we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that last day is a grind. It's all the 200s of
Yeah.
strokes. It's the mile. You're dead tired. Points are on the line. And to be honest, this entire meet, obviously relays are a lot because they're double points. This meet is won in prelims. If you are not showing up and getting your ups and your mids and your downs, or ups and mids,
Wait,
which,
say
okay,
that.
so this
Okay.
is like, sorry. So like if you have 3 up, that's 3 in an A final.
Oh, okay. Okay.
At conference, they do A, B, and C. So up, mid, down. So up is A, mid is B, down is C. So here we only do up and mid. So it's like, how many people can you have in that event scoring, hopefully in the A final, and then maxing out your B final?
Yeah.
That all happens in prelims.
And you can only have 3 total in the A final.
Is there a team cap
No, I don't know.
per event?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so you could literally have 5 girls in the women's
Totally.
200 breaststroke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like, yeah, it's not like USA Swimming where you have like a maxed out amount per event. There are maxed out number of events you can swim as an athlete.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could be a whole final of Florida Gator 500 freestyles.
Yeah.
You know, but I think this, back to the point, prelims. Unless you are somebody that is so dominant in your event, like in a
or distance
or distance, where I mean, we're not doing prelims for the mile, but if you're Gretchen Walsh, you don't need to go all out in the morning.
Yeah.
You can conserve. Other than that, like you're putting, like I would put it out on the line. Like
even for like a 400 IM?
I'd be like 400, 401 in the
Dang.
morning,
Okay.
and then like 358 at night.
Yeah.
So I'm not messing around.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, when you're heat, like that's like the normal mentality in prelims, but this meet is so depth heavy, and that's at the end of the day like what matters is those like 2, 3, 4, 5 point grabbers.
Yeah.
That might not seem like a big deal on Friday, but on Saturday, huge deal.
Yeah.
So
it's like that any given Sunday speech, like game of inches, like literally.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's going to be a very exciting meet.
Yeah.
Do you have an event that you're most looking forward to?
I mean, I feel like it's not like actually any of my events. Like I just feel like watching Gretchen, 100 fly, 200 breast, 200 IM.
I like those.
Yeah.
Those are great choices.
I just feel like the 200 IM has just become the way it looks yards is like 100 IM. Like the way that the 200 IM is swum now is not how it was swum yards when it's just I marvel at the underwaters. Like I just was not an underwater person, and so watching her come up at 15 and just explode into the wall is just I'm like,
yeah. It's actually so amazing that we get to witness all of these athletes here this weekend. Like I feel like NCAA swimming right now is so hot.
So hot.
And this is like a moment in time that we'll look back on and be like, do you remember that NCAA's excuse me, where Gretchen Walsh and Tori Husk raced in the 100 fly?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw in Short Course Worlds, where it was like, I mean, it's not going to be, although Todd would argue this, he's like, how is it an American record why isn't it a world record? Because no one else has done it. I'm like, well, I mean, I guess it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
it technically is a world record because
if we're going to be nitpicky about the terms. Anybody in the world could swim in a short course pool.
And a lot of foreign athletes come over and do it. So I think, I mean, do we think 28 world records like at Short Course Worlds will happen?
Well, let's remember no men here.
No men. Okay, 14.
But we can revisit this conversation at the end of the men's meet. How many did we have on the women's side? Was it 14 or are you just splitting that in half?
I just split it in half.
We'll look that up.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, because that is a really cool question.
Yeah.
I do think it's gonna be American record,
every single
NCAA record, American record, like back to back to back.
Yeah.
It could be like every event.
I think it will be.
Maybe not every event, but like the 5 free. I don't think I see that going down.
But anything Katie Ledecky.
Yeah, there are some events that I'm like, that one's probably safer than most.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like I do think maybe the majority of events we will be seeing some of the fastest times we've ever seen.
Yep, which is special.
Yeah, and we get to talk about it.
And we get
how lucky are we?
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you everyone who tuned in, and I have no idea how many people tuned in, but we are so excited and humbled to be here, and we will be back here tomorrow at 1:30 Pacific time, and also announcing tomorrow a giveaway by Speedo. So stay tuned.
Bye, you guys.